Are you lost too, sir?
Are you lost too, mister? Asked the maid's daughter to the billionaire at the airport. What he did next shocked everyone. Chicago O'Hare had become a frozen prison. December 23rd, and Winter Storm Eli had grounded every flight, trapping thousands in terminals that echoed with crying children and crackling announcements. But in Terminal 5, away from the chaos, Derek Hardy sat motionless. His midnight black suit spoke of boardrooms and power. His Italian leather shoes cost more than most passengers earned in a month. Yet cradled in his palm was something that didn't belong, a tiny friendship bracelet. Blue and yellow beads. Frayed strings. One bead cracked clean down the middle. His daughter had made it at 7. Before the accident. His eyes weren't watching the snow pound against the windows. They were somewhere else entirely. Somewhere 5 years gone. Then, a small tug at his sleeve. Welcome to life in stories, where ordinary moments become extraordinary tales. Whether you're watching from New York or New Delhi or London, you're family now. Hit subscribe and join millions discovering stories that touch the heart. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's begin today's incredible journey together. The announcement crackled through Terminal 5 like a death sentence for holiday plans. Attention passengers. All outbound flights remain delayed until further notice due to Winter Storm Eli. Groans rippled through Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Families clutched overpriced hot cocoa while children melted into tantrums on dirty carpet floors. TSA lines curled like wounded snakes through the terminal, and every charging station had become a battlefield of passive-aggressive outlet negotiations. December 23rd had become December nightmare. Businessmen loosened ties in defeat. Grandmothers clutched boarding passes like lottery tickets that would never pay out. A woman near Gate B7 openly wept into her phone, explaining to someone named Mom that Christmas dinner would happen without her. But in the far corner of Terminal 5, where the crowds thinned and the chaos became white noise, billionaire Derek Hardy sat completely still. He occupied a seat near floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the frozen tarmac. His midnight black suit remained unwrinkled despite hours of waiting. An Italian wool coat, worth more than most passengers' monthly rent, lay draped over the adjacent chair like he expected no one to sit there. His posture spoke of boardrooms and billion-dollar negotiations, of men who bent the world to their will. Yet his eyes told a different story. They weren't watching the snow assault the windows. They weren't tracking the desperate passengers rushing past. They weren't focused on anything in this terminal, this city, this year. They were somewhere else entirely. In his palm, cradled like something sacred, rested a small friendship bracelet. Blue and yellow beads. Child-sized. Strings frayed from years of being held too tightly. One bead cracked clean down the middle. His daughter Lily had made it when she was 7. She'd presented it to him during a board meeting, bursting through his office door despite his secretary's protests. "For you, Daddy," she'd announced to a room full of executives. "So you remember me when you're busy." He'd worn it for 3 days. Then the accident happened. Then the funeral. Then 5 years of silence so loud it deafened everything else. Today marked the anniversary. Every December 23rd, Derek performed the same ritual. Book a flight he never intended to board, sit in an airport surrounded by strangers, and hold the bracelet until the pain became bearable enough to breathe. It never became bearable. Outside, Winter Storm Eli hammered against the terminal like something demanding entry. The windows rattled with each gust, and Derek watched snowflakes spiral in violent patterns across the darkening tarmac. Planes sat grounded like massive beached whales, their wings accumulating white powder that ground crews couldn't clear fast enough. The storm outside matched the one inside him perfectly. Then, a small tug on his sleeve. Derek blinked sharply, yanked from his fog like a swimmer breaking surface. A little girl stood before him. She was maybe 6 years old, bundled in a puffy red jacket 2 sizes too large that made her look like a walking tomato. Black hair sprouted in 2 fluffy pigtails tied with mismatched ribbons, one purple, one green. Her cheeks were flushed pink from running through the heated terminal. But what caught Derek's attention was what she clutched against her chest. A worn stuffed unicorn with a missing eye. The girl studied him with an expression that wasn't fear or curiosity or the usual wariness children showed strangers. It was something else entirely. Concern. "Are you lost too, mister?" she asked, her voice high and certain. "Because I can help you find your mommy." For the first time in 5 years, Derek Hardy forgot how to breathe. Before he could formulate a response, before his billionaire brain could process being addressed by a child who thought he needed help finding his mother, a woman rounded the corner at full speed. She dragged a cleaning cart behind her, its wheels squeaking in protest. Her navy uniform was wrinkled from a long shift, and her name badge caught the fluorescent light. Lola Hunt, airport cleaning staff. Her eyes found the girl and widened with horror. "Emmy!" Lola gasped, rushing for Hardy. "Sweetheart, you can't wander off." "I'm so sorry, sir, she didn't mean to bother you, she just—" "It's fine," Derek said softly. The words surprised him as much as they surprised Lola. She froze mid-apology. Recognition flickered across her exhausted features. She'd seen his face before: Forbes covers, charity gala photographs, business magazines in break-room trash cans. Derek Hardy. The Derek Hardy. Worth more than she'd earn in 1,000 lifetimes. And her daughter had just tugged his sleeve. Emmy remained oblivious to the tension crackling between the adults. She pointed directly at Derek's face with the confidence only children possess. "See, Mommy." He looked sad. Lola wanted the floor to swallow her whole. But Derek laughed. It was a dry, rusty sound. Unused. Like a door opening in an abandoned house. He lowered himself until he was eye level with the girl. "Are you lost?" he asked quietly. Emmy shook her pigtails vigorously. "Nope." Mommy was cleaning the gate area. But her boss yelled at her to hurry up. She leaned closer conspiratorially. "His mean. So I followed my unicorn instead." She lifted the one-eyed toy as evidence of her logic. Derek looked up at Lola, really looked. He saw the dark circles beneath her eyes. The calluses on her hands. The way she stood slightly hunched, like someone accustomed to apologizing for existing. He recognized something in her posture. A parent fighting to survive. The speakers buzzed overhead. "Winter storm Eli has intensified. All flights grounded indefinitely. Please remain inside until authorities confirm safe conditions." Lola's face drained of color. Derek rose slowly to his full height. "Do you have anywhere safe to wait?" The wind screamed against the windows. Lola's throat tightened as the announcement echoed through Terminal 5. All flights grounded indefinitely. She calculated quickly. Staff break rooms already overflowed with stranded employees. The airport buses had stopped running 2 hours ago. Taxis weren't venturing out. The L train had suspended service. She had nowhere to take her daughter. "Mommy." Emmy tugged her sleeve. "Where are we sleeping tonight?" Lola forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Don't worry, baby. Mommy will figure something out." But Derek caught the tremor in her voice. He recognized the particular terror of a parent calculating impossible options, the mental math of survival when every equation ended in zero. He stood slowly, buttoning his suit jacket. "Both of you can wait with me." Lola's head snapped to Hardy him. "Sir, I can't possibly. The staff areas are supposed to. I'm not allowed in the passenger lounges. They have rules about cleaning crew mixing with." "You're with me," Derek said simply. The words carried no arrogance. No condescension. Just quiet certainty from a man accustomed to doors opening when he approached them. Lola shook her head vigorously. "Mr. Hardy, that's incredibly kind, but I'm just staff. I can't walk into a VIP lounge wearing this uniform. They'll think I'm there to clean. They'll call security. They'll welcome you as my guest." Emmy bounced on her toes, clutching her one-eyed unicorn. "Please, Mommy. Please, please, please. I want to see where the fancy people go." Lola hesitated. Pride battled exhaustion. Dignity wrestled desperation. Outside, the storm howled its answer. Snow now fell sideways, visibility reduced to nothing. The windows shuddered like something enormous was trying to break through. She had no choice. "Okay, Lola whispered. "Thank you." The United Airlines Polaris lounge existed in a different dimension. Warm amber lighting replaced the harsh fluorescent glare of the terminal. Plush leather chairs clustered around electric fireplaces that flickered with convincing flame. The air smelled of fresh coffee and something vaguely floral, perhaps lavender, perhaps money. Emmy stopped dead in the entrance, her jaw dropping. "Mommy," she breathed reverently. "Is this heaven?" A hostess in a crisp blazer approached with a practiced smile that faltered slightly when she noticed Lola's cleaning uniform. Her eyes flicked to the navy fabric, the name badge, the cart Lola had been forced to abandon outside. "Sir, your guests are." "With me," Derek said. His tone remained pleasant but contained something beneath it. Something that suggested disagreement would be unwise. The hostess's smile recalibrated instantly. "Of course, Mr. Hardy. Right this way." She led them to a private corner with curved sofas and a window overlooking the frozen apocalypse outside. A small Christmas tree twinkled nearby, ornaments catching the firelight. Emmy immediately sprinted to Hardy the snack bar. "Mommy, they have cookies shaped like snowflakes." Lola lunged after her. "Emmy, no, don't touch anything." "Let her eat," Derek said. "Everything's included." Lola froze awkwardly between sitting and standing. "I don't know how to. I've never been somewhere like this. I clean places like this. I don't." "Sit," Derek said gently. "Please. You look like you haven't rested in days." She sank into the leather slowly, as if expecting someone to shout that she didn't belong. The cushion embraced her tired body like an apology for every hard plastic chair she'd ever endured. Emmy returned triumphantly, her small fists clutching cookies and her unicorn simultaneously. Mister, she announced, apparently her name for Derek now, "this place has hot chocolate with tiny marshmallows." "Does it?" Derek asked, his voice softer than Lola had ever heard a billionaire speak. "Uh-huh. And the lady gave me TWO cups because I said please nicely." Emmy settled onto the floor near the coffee table, arranging her unicorn and her snacks with serious deliberation. Then she noticed something on the shelf behind them. Her eyes widened. Checkers. She scrambled up, grabbed the board, and slammed it onto the table with the authority of a general calling troops to war. "We're playing," she declared. "Loser tells a real secret." Lola covered her face. "Emmy, Mr. Hardy doesn't want to." "I accept," Derek said. Lola stared at him. He was already positioning his pieces. Emmy destroyed him in the first game. And the second. And the third. "You're terrible at this," she announced gleefully, jumping her final piece over his last offender. "Emmy." Lola gasped. "That's rude." But Derek laughed, that same rusty, unused sound from before, like machinery remembering motion. "She's right. I'm absolutely terrible." Emmy pointed at him with the seriousness of a judge delivering a verdict. "You lost 3 times. That's 3 secrets. That seems mathematically aggressive." "Rules are rules, Mister. Derek glanced at Lola, something vulnerable flickering in his expression. She nodded slightly, curiosity replacing her earlier discomfort. He turned back to Emmy. "All right. 1 secret." He paused, the words seeming to require physical effort. "I used to be very afraid of storms." Emmy cocked her head. "That's not a real secret. Lots of people don't like storms." "I was afraid," Derek continued quietly, "because I lost someone during one. Someone very important. And now, whenever it snows like this, I hear her voice." The lounge fell silent around them. Lola's hand rose slowly to her mouth. She saw it now, the teddy bear he'd left behind, the bracelet in his pocket, the emptiness in his eyes. Not just sadness. Grief. The kind that never fully healed. "I'm sorry, Mister, Emmy whispered. Then, brightening with childlike solution-finding, "Maybe she's visiting you. In the snowflakes." Derek stared at her. Something cracked in his chest. "Maybe she is," he managed. Lola's phone suddenly erupted with vibrations, text after text flooding the screen. She glanced down, confused. 17 notifications. 23. 41. Something was happening online. But Emmy was already resetting the checkers board, demanding a rematch, and the moment swept Lola back into its current. The phone kept buzzing. She ignored it. The video had been uploaded at 4:47 p.m. By 5:30 p.m., it had 3 million views. A 20-year-old Northwestern student named Becca Thornton had been scrolling through her phone in the Polaris lounge when she noticed the scene unfolding across the room. A little girl in an oversized red jacket. A man in a suit worth more than her tuition. The gentle tug on his sleeve. She'd recorded it without thinking. 15 seconds of raw, unscripted humanity. The caption read, "This billionaire just melted when a little girl asked him if he was lost. I'm literally crying RN." TikTok's algorithm grabbed it like a starving animal. The comments exploded within minutes. Wait, that's Derek Hardy. The Derek Hardy. Worth like $4 billion. The way his whole face just crumbles. This man is broken. That little girl just did what his therapist probably couldn't in years. He looks like he hasn't felt anything in decades and she just unlocked him. I'm sobbing on the toilet at my in-laws' house. This is not how I planned Christmas Eve. That kid saved him. She literally saved him and doesn't even know it. Who's cutting onions in this Applebee's? News outlets grabbed the footage next. CNN ran a ticker, "Billionaire Derek Hardy's emotional airport moment goes viral." Fox Business analyzed it through a corporate lens. Twitter erupted with hot takes, memes, and surprisingly earnest threads about grief and human connection. By 6:15 p.m., Lola Hunt's phone had received 247 notifications. She finally looked. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through the messages. Co-workers she barely knew had texted. Her sister in Houston had sent 17 exclamation points. Her supervisor, the same man who'd yelled at her to hurry earlier, had written simply, "Call me immediately." "No," Lola whispered. "No, no, no." The blood drained from her face as she found the video. She watched her daughter approach a stranger. Watched herself rush into frame, panicked and apologetic. Watched the billionaire kneel down with an expression that made her chest physically ache. Millions of people had seen this. Millions. "Mommy." Emmy looked up from her fourth hot chocolate. "Why do you look scared?" Lola couldn't breathe. She was going to lose her job. The airport had strict policies about staff-passenger interactions. Filming incidents. Social media exposure. Her supervisor would claim she'd engineered this somehow, let her daughter wander deliberately, created a scene, embarrassed the company. 12 years of perfect attendance. 12 years of scrubbing toilets and emptying trash cans and smiling through insults. Gone. I should. Lola stood abruptly, phone clutched against her chest. "Mr. Hardy, I'm so sorry. I didn't know someone was recording. I never meant for any of this to." Derek's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His assistant's name flashed urgently. "One moment," he said, rising. He stepped to Hardy the window, the storm still raging beyond the glass, and answered. Lola watched his reflection. His posture shifted as whoever was speaking delivered news. His shoulders, already tense, seemed to calcify. He turned slowly, phone still pressed to his ear, and his eyes found the large television mounted above the lounge bar. His own face stared back at him. The video played on CNN's afternoon coverage. A little girl tugging his sleeve. His expression. God, his expression. He looked like a man drowning in plain sight. Lost. Broken. Desperate for something he couldn't name. "Are you lost too, mister?" Derek watched himself crumble on national television. For 15 seconds, the world had witnessed what he'd hidden for 5 years. He ended the call without speaking. Lola approached him like someone approaching an unexploded bomb. "Mr. Hardy, I am so incredibly sorry. I never authorized any recording. I didn't see anyone filming. I'll speak to my supervisor immediately. If there's any legal action you need to take, I completely understand. I'll testify that this was entirely my fault, that Emmy shouldn't have wondered, that I should have been watching her more carefully, that." "Lola, She stopped. Derek turned from the window. His eyes were wet. Not angry. Not litigious. Not calculating damages or planning lawsuits. Wet. "I'm not angry," he said quietly. "But your privacy, the video, everyone saw. Everyone saw me being human." He paused, the words seeming to surprise him. I'd forgotten what that looked like. Lola's prepared apologies dissolved in her throat. "Your daughter saved me from a very long night," Derek continued. "I came to this airport planning to sit alone with my grief until it crushed me completely. I do it every year. This anniversary, this storm, this—" He stopped. She interrupted me. "Maybe that's what I needed." Lola's eyes filled with tears she couldn't explain. "She just wanted to help," she whispered. "She's always trying to help everyone." She succeeded. The speakers crackled overhead. "Attention passengers. Winter storm Eli is subsiding. Flight operations will resume within the hour. Please check monitors for updated departure times." The lounge erupted into motion. Passengers grabbed bags, checked phones, rushed to Hardy gates. The quiet sanctuary transformed into controlled chaos. Lola looked to Hardy the window. The snow had softened into gentle flurries. Somewhere beyond the clouds, stars were probably emerging. "We should go," she said, her voice thick. "My supervisor wants to speak with me. And you probably have important places to be." She gathered Emmy's scattered cookie napkins, her hand shaking slightly. Emmy stood slowly, her one-eyed unicorn pressed against her heart. She walked to Derek with the solemnity of someone approaching an altar. Mister. He knelt to meet her eyes. "Don't be lost anymore, okay?" She threw her small arms around his neck and squeezed with surprising ferocity. Derek froze, then his arms came around her gently, carefully, like he was holding something precious and fragile. When she pulled back, she pressed something into his palm. Small. Plastic. Slightly scratched. The unicorn's missing eye. "So you remember," Emmy whispered. "Someone believes in you." Derek stared at the tiny object. His vision blurred. Lola gathered their few belongings with trembling hands. Cookie napkins. Emmy's backpack. The one-eyed unicorn now missing its remaining eye. Her dignity, somehow still intact despite everything. "Mr. Hardy," she began, straightening her wrinkled uniform. "I don't have words for what you've done tonight. Taking us in. Treating Emmy like she mattered. Treating me like I mattered." Her voice cracked. "Nobody's ever done that before." She extended her hand for a professional handshake, the kind cleaning staff offered to executives when interactions concluded. Brief. Forgettable. Safe. Derek didn't take it. "Wait," he said. Lola's hand hung awkwardly in the air. Derek reached into his suit jacket's interior pocket. Not the pocket containing his corporate cards, those platinum rectangles that opened every door in American business. A different pocket. Deeper. More personal. He withdrew a simple white card. No company logo. No executive title. No embossed lettering announcing his billions. Just a handwritten phone number. And beneath it, 2 words. "Call me." Lola stared at the card like it might burst into flames. "Mr. Hardy, I can't." "Lola." His voice carried a gentleness she hadn't heard from anyone in years. "If you ever need help, real help, call this number. If you want something better than cleaning terminals until your back breaks, I can help." The lounge fell silent. Not gradually. Immediately. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Champagne glasses paused mid-sip. Every passenger within earshot turned to witness what was unfolding. A billionaire offering his personal number to a cleaning woman whose daughter had wandered into his grief. Even the lounge staff froze behind the bar. This wasn't how the world worked. Powerful men didn't help invisible women. Billionaires didn't notice the people who scrubbed their floors. Yet here stood Derek Hardy, holding out a card like it was the most natural thing in the world. "I don't understand," Lola whispered. "Why would you do this? You don't know me. You don't owe me anything." Derek looked down at his other palm. The tiny plastic unicorn I rested there, scratched, imperfect, worthless by any financial measure. Emmy had given it to him like she was entrusting him with something sacred. So you remember. Someone believes in you. Your daughter asked if I was lost, Derek said quietly. She was right. I've been lost for 5 years. Wandering through airports and boardrooms and empty penthouses, pretending I was functional. Pretending grief hadn't hollowed me out. He paused. Tonight, a 6-year-old with a one-eyed unicorn found me. Lola's eyes overflowed. She'd spent 12 years being invisible. 12 years watching wealthy travelers look through her like she was furniture. 12 years hearing her supervisor scream about efficiency while her knees ached and her dreams withered. Now a billionaire was telling her she'd given him something valuable. This isn't pity, Derek continued, reading her hesitation. This is gratitude. And maybe recognition. I see how hard you work. I see what you sacrifice. I see the mother you are. His voice dropped. I couldn't save my daughter, but I can help yours have a better life. Lola's hand shook violently as she accepted the card. Across the lounge, phones emerged like synchronized weapons. Becca Thornton, the Northwestern student who'd started the viral avalanche, was already filming. Her caption would read, "Update, he just gave her his personal number. I am deceased." A businessman in a cashmere sweater recorded discreetly from behind a newspaper. A grandmother FaceTimed her daughter, whispering, "You're not going to believe what's happening." Within minutes, the footage hit Twitter. The sequel is even better than the original. This man is either the greatest human alive or running for president. I'm not crying, I'm sobbing. There's a difference. Plot twist: the maid's daughter is the real billionaire. Rich in emotional intelligence. Can Derek Hardy adopt me? I'm 34 but very lovable. This is the Christmas content I needed. Everything else can stop now. News anchors interrupted programming to cover the update. Hashtags multiplied. #airport miracle, #mother angel, #Derek Hardy redemption, #lost and found. Lola didn't notice any of it. She was too busy memorizing the weight of the card in her hand. Could she trust this? The question circled her mind like a hawk. Rich men made promises they never kept. They offered help that came with invisible strings. They saw vulnerability and exploited it. But Derek Hardy had played checkers with her daughter for 2 hours. He'd shared his trauma with a 6-year-old because she demanded a real secret. He'd looked at Lola like she was a person, not a uniform, not a function, not background noise. Maybe this was different. Maybe this was real. Or maybe tomorrow he'd forget entirely. Return to his billions. Become the cold face on magazine covers again. Lola tucked the card into her pocket anyway. Hope, she'd learned, was worth the risk of disappointment. Derek watched them prepare to leave. Something strange was happening in his chest. The numbness that had defined 5 years of existence was receding. Not disappearing. Grief didn't work that way. But shifting. Making room for something else. He wasn't empty walking away from this encounter. He wasn't performing functionality while dying inside. He felt found. That was the only word for it. A child had asked the right question at the right moment, and somehow the universe had answered. Lola took Emmy's hand. They turned toward the lounge exit, toward the terminal chaos, toward an uncertain future that now contained one new possibility. Emmy looked back over her shoulder. Her grin stretched impossibly wide. "We'll see you again, mister." It wasn't a question. It was a prophecy. Lola offered a final watery smile, then guided her daughter into the crowd. They disappeared among rushing passengers and rolling suitcases, 2 small figures swallowed by the ordinary world. Derek stood motionless. He opened his palm and studied the plastic unicorn eye. Scratched. Imperfect. Priceless. His other hand drifted to his pocket, where the friendship bracelet still rested. Blue and yellow beads. Cracked down the middle. Made by hands that no longer existed. For the first time in a decade, holding it didn't only hurt. It also felt like permission. Permission to keep living. His lips curved up Hardy, slowly, unpracticed, Genuine. A smile. He closed his fingers around both objects and walked to Hardy the gate. The storm had cleared. His flight was boarding. The world waited beyond the window, full of grief and loss and unbearable absence. But also, perhaps, full of 6-year-olds with impossible questions. And mothers who deserved better. And second chances dressed as strangers. Sometimes the person you save is the one who saves you back. Derek Hardy boarded his flight. He wasn't lost anymore.
Thank you for watching until the very end. You're the reason we tell these stories. If this touched your heart, subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a moment. Drop your country below. We love seeing our global family grow. Until next time, stay blessed.